Hello, over to the Flubber Nerds podcast. Today I'm here with Kevin Derrick. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for being here.
Hey, pretty good. How are you, man? Everything's good.
Doing well, thank you. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So I wanted to ask first off how you got into the whole industry of doing this.
It was for me. It was kind of early on. It started when I was 12. Uh, for filmmaking is not like any other profession, like doctor or lawyer, where you go to college and hope when you come out you're gonna get a job directing or something. That's
Yeah.
what most people think. But no one really cares what kind of degree you have when you go into film. So the first thing they ask you is like, what have you done? So, I started going to film school and it was more hands-on. And then from there, it's just, I started doing projects on my own. I just did whole bunch of low budget films and just slowly learned by, failure. The first couple of films I
Yeah.
did was failures. So, it took 30 years, but I think I figured it out now. So,
Nice. That's cool. So obviously, you've done more than Miyagi most recently. So what was the best parts about doing that?
For me, meeting all these childhood. Okay, I watched one of my favorite shows was Happy Days when I was
Oh, yeah.
growing up. I was 10 years old, and to be able to meet all these people like Fonzie and Ralph. I don't know if you're familiar with that show, but like
Yeah.
for me to be able to meet like Cheech and Chong, I grew up watching all of his film. It's kind of surreal to meet all these guys. For me, the most memorable one is Marion Ross from Happy Days. I don't know if you ever seen it, but
Yeah.
the whole thing revolves around her house where all the kids come over and
Oh,
have
yeah.
milk and cookies and lemonade and all that stuff. Anyways, when we went to her house, it was kind of like jumping into like the Happy Days set. It
Oh,
was She basically said, "Hey Kevin, before we start doing the interview, I made some cookies and lemonade for you guys." So that was kind of enjoyable for me. It was kind of piece of Happy Days history for me, and she was very sweet. Everyone that we interviewed, they were very down to earth and nice people. So overall, it was a pretty good experience.
nice. That's really cool to hear. And why do you think now was the best time to release this documentary on Pat?
Um, it all happened by accident. I didn't plan on releasing it right now. It
Oh,
was
okay.
we shot it and we started shooting in 2008. I don't know if you know, but for me, I started taking karate at an early age, and Fumi Demra, which did all the stunt work for Pat
Oh, yeah.
Morita,
Yeah.
he was my teacher. So I was doing a documentary on him, which was called, The Real Miyagi. So
Yeah.
I've been stuck in the karate world for a long time. But anyway, so I was doing a documentary on him, and then I had to interview someone on behalf of Pat. So the only person that I could find was Pat Morita's wife, which was Evelyn. So we
Right.
went to Las Vegas, and I had an interview with her. And then at the end of the interview, she told me, I don't know if you know, but Pat suffered tuberculosis. He went to internment camps. He saw his father die in front of his eyes, and be
Wow.
dragged by a car and all that stuff. Whole bunch of different things, and it kind of stuck with me for a long time. And then a year later, when Netflix bought our documentary, she saw it, and then she called me up. She said, "Oh my God, I got emotional watching that part about Pat and stuff like that." And then that's when I hit her up. I said, "Hey, Evelyn, you want to do a documentary on Pat?" And then she said, "I'm thinking of doing like a narrative feature instead of a documentary. I want to do a narrative feature." And I
Yeah.
said, "Well, let's do the documentary first, and then if it picks up momentum and people end up liking it, we'll do the feature." So basically, 4 or 5 years later, here we are. We finished the documentary,
Yeah.
and our next thing is, you know, well, go ahead. You can ask me the next question. I don't want to keep
No, it's fine.
rambling
Go
and
ahead. No,
rambling.
it's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah. So basically, Pat was working on a manuscript from 1996. So the next project that we're thinking of doing is turning that manuscript into a like a series.
Oh, nice.
So like a nine-part series, because he goes into detail about all the stuff that happened to him in internment camp and all that stuff. A lot of the things that I couldn't show in our documentary. So I think it will make a good story as like a 9-part series. So that's something that we're starting to work on.
Oh, nice. That's really cool. So is that going to be take a long time? Do you think to produce?
This is gonna take some time to produce, right? I mean, we have to write it. We have to write the first episode, and then have the
Yeah.
9 episodes laid out. So when we go pitch it, I don't know. We're gonna go with Netflix, Hulu, and all these people and see if they're interested. If not, then we just have to do it independently.
Oh, okay,
So.
cool. So what's the plans going forward with yourself, like work wise?
For me, in terms of documentary, I'm open-minded to. I mean, I get hit up pretty much almost every day with someone on Facebook or Instagram. Hey, what do you think about doing a documentary on
Yeah.
this? But for me, something that I grew up with in the '80s, any kind of actors, musicians from the '80s, I would love to do a documentary on them. But I have a personal story that when we came here, I'm an immigrant from Iran. We came here in
Oh wow.
1970s,
Okay.
so I went through a lot of, well, we came here 77, and then the revolution happened in Iran in 1979, where they started taking hostages and stuff. So
Yeah.
all the stuff that was going on over there, we were seeing the effects in the US. We were getting beat up, punched at, spat
Yeah.
on, and stuff like. So I had a pretty bad, like for like a year, I had a really bad childhood. So I'm
Wow.
basically going to turn that into a feature. So that's what I'm hoping on. That's what I'm working on. And I finished the first draft with one of my friends, and that's what I'm going to try to raise money and try to work on that.
Nice. Really cool. So what would you say is something you'd like to do down the line? Obviously, you said that. But what's other projects you'd like to focus on down the line in the future?
Twilight Zone films have been a big part of my life. It was if you watch most of sci-fi or horror films, majority of the films that they even make now are kind of based on what Rod Serling was doing back in the 60s.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, if I could be, if my wish is if I could direct one of the Twilight Zone episodes, I guess, or even do a documentary on Rod Serling that would be an honor. So.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
I was saying Twilight Zone has been a big part of my life. I grew up watching Twilight Zone. If I can be any way part of like even directing an episode or doing a life story on Rod Serling, that would be a great honor for me.
Nice. That'd be really cool. So when you did the Pat Morita documentary, what was some of the not the highlights? What were some of the things you learned from being part of that documentary?
Um, Documentaries, in general, take like 4 or 5 years to make. I don't know if people realize that.
I didn't realize that.
It has to be something that you're passionate about, something that you're making it for yourself. So I love Pat. I met Pat one time, long time ago, and you just have to do the subject that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So you're actually making it for yourself. You're not making it for the audience, and you hope that what you make for yourself, that you enjoy watching yourself, other people are going to enjoy it as well. So I mean, it has to be because, and also documentaries are not that profitable. I mean, you get lucky to just, you don't really make that much money off of them.
Yeah, I get that.
It's just all a love project. Uh, yeah, basically what I learned with Pat Morita's thing. I don't think I would ever want to do another documentary that the subject that I'm working on is not living, because it's hard to go and interview people, and sometimes it seems one-sided, and the whole family has to be with you. If they're not with you, then
Of
they
course.
become against you, and it makes the situation worse. So I've learned to next documentary the person has to be living or forget it. So
Fair enough. Um, so when you came to the conclusion of the documentary, do you feel that you were successful in your mind with what you made?
well, with what I had to work with, I think I did the best that I could. I was hoping that other members of his family would also participate. That way I can have both sides of the family. But
Right.
from what I had and what I had to work with, I think I was able to tell a decent story. I mean, looking at it, there are some places even now that I would change, but you get to a point when you're editing, you just say, that's it. That's
Yeah.
4 years is enough. Let's move on. Let's go do something else.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So did you ever feel at any point that it was getting tough to get to the end of the documentary, or did you always feel like it was a smooth ride?
No, 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 never, never. Nothing that I worked on has been a smooth ride ever.
Okay.
Um, what happens is when you're editing, I don't know, this is like a common feeling amongst all editors. I mean, we talk about it all the time with the other editors. You start editing a project, like the first couple of months, you're looking at it, you go, wow, this looks really good. I think everyone's going to love it.
Yeah.
And then, like 6 months down the line, you've seen it 400 or 500 times, you go, yeah, it still holds. I think it might work. And then like 2 years that you watch it like 4 or 5 thousand times, you go, what the hell is this? Is anyone ever going to watch this? So at that point, you have to take it and show it to people that you don't know, and then you have to have a test screening. And that's what we did. The first version that we had was like 2.5 hours long.
Oh wow.
So then people that I didn't know and some of the people I trusted, I invited, and they basically gave me notes and said, take this part out, this part doesn't work, and all that stuff. And they were right. I mean, you don't take what everybody says, but you take what majority of the people
Yeah,
say.
of course. Yeah.
And then some of the parts that didn't make the cut, I just put on the DVD. So if anyone's interested to see what I took out, everything's on the DVD.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So are you working on anything at the moment?
No, I'm just trying to get my that feature done. The first draft I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be called 444 Days. So we're basically working on that and see where that goes.
Nice. So when you were shooting the documentary, obviously the likes of the Karate Kid cast were in it and whatnot. Were they shot over the several years, or how was that shot?
Yeah, basically when we started, we made a list. I went on IMDb and I looked at all the people that Pat has worked with, and with my producer Oscar Alvarez, we hit up basically
Oh
everyone that
wow.
he's worked with, and through their manager. Sometimes, the message doesn't get across through them because the manager or the agent filters it and decides, oh, I don't think they should participate in this. And sometimes it makes it through. And sometimes you got to hit like a publicist and stuff like that. So we did the best we could. And the people who wanted to get involved obviously did. And the people who didn't want to get involved didn't, and made some excuses not to get involved.
Yeah.
So we're happy that Ralph and Zapka and Marty Cove and the people from Happy Days got involved. I mean, without them, I don't think we could have told the story. So I appreciate everyone that got involved. Very nice people. All of them were very nice people.
Oh, that's great to hear. I'm glad. Last question I want to ask. What has been throughout your career? What's been your favorite projects to work on?
Favorite, the stuff that I did in my 20s were the most memorable one. I mean, I had a really good time making it. I remember the film. It's not necessarily the best film, but it's the most memorable, and the best time that I had
Yeah.
was the Ultimate Game. It was an action adventure with J.D. Rifkin and T.J. Storm. Very nice people, very good martial artists. I mean, the martial art is great. We started out with a story, a nice script, and then but it was too ambitious for its own good. We had like 60 actors.
Oh,
And back then we were shooting on film. It's not like today you shoot on video and you can shoot as much as you want.
yeah.
Back then with film, like every minute would cost $100. But so you would buy the film, develop the film, and average cost would be $100. So I couldn't really like overshoot it. But and then we ended up losing some of the actors because we weren't paying them enough. And then so I
Oh,
had to change the story according to the actors that were there and the actors that were left. So it became like a whole mishmash story. But the whole process for me, it was fun making it. And I made a great group of friends that were still friends. So that's the most memorable for me. And I think that's on Amazon. It's called The Ultimate Game. I don't recommend you watch it, but it was a fun movie.
oh, fair enough then. Well, at least you had fun. That's all that matters, I suppose. At
Yeah,
the end of the day.
exactly. Exactly. It's all about memories and
Yeah.
making friends.
Exactly. Well, I want to thank you, Kevin, for today. I've asked everything I'd like to ask you. So,
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
no, thank you. I appreciate you giving up some of your time. It means a lot.
So
So,
I don't know if you like edit this or add any pictures or whatever that you want. Just let me know. Email me. I have tons of video footage and pictures that you want to add. If you want to add, you're welcome to.
yeah, sure. I'll edit the bit. Obviously, it froze on, and then
Yeah.
if I can add anything onto the end, I will. I'll do that.
Sure. I'll send you a link and then you can choose whatever that you want.
Awesome. That's great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Adam. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day. Take care.
Goodbye.